Good morning and welcome to the Chamber Business Report. I'm John Phillips, President of the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber of Commerce, and thrilled to be with you today for our Chamber Business Report brought to you by Klein Construction, building the future of Flagler County for the past 30 years. Smart technologies, they make business simple. Intracoastal Bank of Palm Coast, community banking the way it should be, member FDIC. And Katz & Green, Flagler County's personal injury attorneys since 1996. We are thrilled to have Dr. Joe Saviak as our guest today and look forward to learning a lot of things about him and about our area and maybe most importantly about the topic of leadership. Joe, appreciate you taking some time to join us. Welcome to the Chamber Business Report.
It's wonderful to be with you, and I commend the Chamber for providing this show. It's highly informative, and it's very helpful and conducive to success of individuals and businesses in our community.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying that, and again, appreciate your time today. You were fortunate enough to go to almost every major school in the state of Florida, it seems like. So I just want a real quick background check from you. There are so many initials and letters after your name. We need a bigger screen to show them some days. A bachelor's degree from the University of Florida, a master's from the University of Florida, a master's from UCF, a JD, a Juris Doctor, a law degree from FSU, and also a PhD from UCF. Give me a quick What's the journey been like for you and all that education? I know you grew up in South Florida, ended up here in Flagler County. How did we get here?
I believe that learning is a lifelong process, and I've been very fortunate to teach many students who are working professionals. I always very much encourage them to pursue their goals and dreams, and that includes completing their college education and continuous learning, and that we're always growing and gaining new knowledge and skills. I work as a consultant to organizations throughout the state. Anything that we can do to improve their performance, optimize their success, that's what we do. I've been a senior executive, a college professor, an author, and also an attorney.
Yeah. And in that order, professor, author, attorney, how did it all transpire?
Well, I very much enjoyed teaching and learning. But yeah, the professor actually came a little later in life, after having been an administrator, and also a consultant. So, and I work today as a consultant.
Well, fantastic.
Really what drives me is aiding in the success of others, helping them achieve their goals and dreams.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about public policy and how the state of Florida is one of the leaders in our economy, is doing so well. But I do want to take a step back to the professor days. Is that something we have in common? Flagler College, is that where you've done
indeed,
most,
yeah,
or maybe all of your professor work?
It was a wonderful program, the public administration program, evenings and weekends program for professionals, supervisors, managers, and executives who work in local government. So today, between the leadership programs that I conduct today and having been a professor at the college for many years, literally, if you go from Daytona Beach to the Georgia line and a couple of counties westward, anytime you're interacting with senior or middle management in any of the local governments, in fact, a number of the elected officials, they are my alumni. Yeah. And so it's very rewarding to get to see their success and continuous accomplishments.
I think that's one of the things you and I have in common. Evenings and weekends at Flagler College. You're on the educational side of it. I'm actually serving as the play-by-play announcer for Flagler College men's and women's basketball, and most of those games are played on evenings and weekends. So I've made quite a few road trips to St. Augustine, just like you have, for maybe a little bit different purposes.
I know you have this wonderful history in college athletics, and I was very much enjoyed the recent leadership program that you put on, and you had the coach from Embry-Riddle come in and speak, and he was really inspirational, and he just nailed it in terms of what's going to lead you to success and sustain that success in life.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things that I've heard you talk about in leadership at our Chamber 101 event, very similar. You and Coach Steve Ritter have a lot in common. I think a lot of the same styles and beliefs of what leadership can do, will do, and how so critical it is, whether you're in private practice or in the government, how important it is to your success.
I always say leadership is coaching. You're there to be an encourager, a listener. You're there to help them identify their strengths and optimize those talents and abilities. You're there to also identify their opportunities for improvement and help them achieve those improvements.
Yep. Let's take a step back and let's talk a little bit more about public policy. I know that's one of the topics we wanted to get into. So real quick, to just update our listeners, you have done a lot of education, as you alluded to, in the public sector of
Correct.
Government folks. I know you're part of the Flagler Sheriff's Leadership Institute here locally and several other municipalities. How did that all come about?
You know, I remember when I was in high school, I worked as an intern to the assistant city manager of Pompano Beach. And I also had a teacher, Ray Sussman, who was a big influence in my life. And I found that I was very interested in government, public policy, and public administration. So little wonder that I would end up with a PhD in those subjects, and that I would be doing a lot of teaching in that. And you know, this era is going to produce our best generation of leaders, I think, in Florida local government. And the reason is the challenges are significant, the resources are limited, and you've got to be an innovative problem solver. You've got to capitalize on best practices and model policies, and be constantly leading positive change in order to succeed and excel in the 21st century.
Yeah. Without getting into all the personal details of who some of your alumni are, maybe focus on the municipalities and organizations that you've helped. Obviously, the Flagler County Sheriff's Organization.
Right.
And then some of our other local municipalities.
Yeah,
as well.
we're very proud. The tax collector, Shelley Edmondson, hosts a leadership academy. She's a big believer in all the local governments should be working together as a single team, right? Even if you're different departments or agencies.
Sure.
And so she provides this opportunity, and I teach the program, and we have representatives from all of the local governments, and they come in and they learn best practices. They sharpen key skills like research, analysis, problem solving, teamwork, management. They deepen their knowledge of the specific subjects that they will be dealing with, whether it's HR or policies or budgets and finance, and they learn a lot about what makes you succeed as a leader. And then they take all that knowledge and sharpen skills, and all of that goes towards better serving the public with more effective and efficient local government.
Let's talk about that, unpack that one a little bit. More effective and efficient local government. You know, with public policy, the state of Florida has been growing significantly. And that means our resources are also growing, but maybe not growing as the same rate as the people are growing here in the state of Florida.
Right.
So we have to do better with our efficiencies. And let's talk about why has Florida been so successful? Why are there so many people moving here? Why are businesses relocating here? What's the common theme?
Well, yeah, you have an excellent point about when you have high growth, high service demand, and you have limited resources. How do you close that gap? And you're going to close that gap with innovation, increased efficiency, cost savings, use of best practices, use of model policies. And that's exactly what we're trying to achieve in local and state government here in Florida. So let's talk about why Florida is such a magnet for companies, capital, new residents, and tourists. And really what it does is it illuminates the very strong and predictive relationship between public policy and your economy and quality of life. So Florida is now the 15th largest economy on the planet. We have no state or local income tax, unlike other states. We've provided a number of forms of property tax reform and relief over the years. We're a right-to-work state, which is also attractive for business, right? And for talent, because then people can decide which employer they want to work for, under what terms and what conditions. In other words, you're in charge, right? We have a AAA credit rating. We've actually paid down $12 billion in debt, and our debt right now as a state is the lowest it's been since 1999. So we're very fiscally sound. Our crime rate, and there is tremendous credit to be given to Sheriff Staley, to his fellow sheriffs and police chiefs, to our state attorneys like R.J. Larissa. Despite adding 18 million residents since 1971, our crime rate today is the same as it was in 1971. We're one of the safest places to live in America. And the reality is capital companies and residents don't go to somewhere that's not safe.
The common theme over the last and it does all flow down, especially locally, but it does really start at the top, at the governor's office. If you look back at I think I got the order correct: Bush, Christ, Scott, DeSantis, the last 4 governors in the state of Florida. And I'm not sure if Charlie Crist was what party he was affiliated with when he was governor. I think he was a Republican at that time.
Sure.
But the conservative fiscal policies of those 4 governors have really parlayed themselves into a lot of our success.
I think you raise an excellent point, and that is we've had a high degree of policy continuity and policy stability over the last 25 years, which then means it is impossible that it's anything other than the public policies, the specific set of policies that have been chosen by our governor and legislatures and our local officials that can explain why Florida is viewed as the model in the nation, why we are such a major success story, why we're just a magnet for companies, capital, residents, and tourists. I'd raise some other points about Florida. Some localities and states around the country, unfortunately, have had issues with public misconduct and corruption. It's an anomaly here. In other words, it is very much the exception, not the rule. I would track that back to the 1970s. We had an exceptional governor, Reuben Askew, who at the time, Florida actually had a major public corruption problem. We had a cabinet member go to federal prison and other examples. And he led ethics reform, and the voters approved it. And I'm talking about the public records, public meetings, financial gift disclosure of public officials. And so when you think about that, companies aren't going to relocate to places that have a bad reputation on that issue, right? But they're going to come to a place with a good reputation. Good schools. We have good schools. Here's another key historical factor about our state. A number of the southern states engaged in mass resistance after the United States Supreme Court in 1954 in Brown versus the School Board of Topeka said racial segregation of the public schools is unconstitutional. In Florida, we had governors such as Leroy Collins and Reuben Askew who said, we are going to embrace the future. We are not going to fight the court. We are not going to try to persist with something that is fundamentally unjust, wrong, and unconstitutional. And we're going to be a full, fair, and equal access to opportunity society. And really, if you look at countries around the world, countries that offer everyone an opportunity to fulfill their dreams and shoot for the stars and optimize the talents of everyone in their society, they are the best. They are the strongest. They are the most successful. And so that can definitely explain why Florida is ahead of other states in the South.
Yeah. And the other thing I think, not to lump it all into one nutshell, but those 4 most recent governors of the state of Florida, although they have changed and their policies have certainly not all been the same, they have been relatively similar from a business perspective and a policy perspective to allowed us to build some momentum. If you're constantly changing back and forth, it's hard to build momentum.
I think that's a salient point in this discussion, and that is capital wants stability, predictability, consistency. And because we have had a specific set of policies of low tax, reasonable, common sense regulation, fiscally sound, a big focus on workforce. I can't say enough about our state colleges like Daytona State College and what they do to make sure that individuals are equipped with the certificates, degrees, skills, and knowledge they need to succeed in the high-demand professions that make Florida's economy so strong. So we've had a number of factors in our favor here, and I think all of those are really important in explaining our sustained success.
Well, it's a great testimony to our public education system here in the state of Florida, coming from a gentleman who has 5 degrees from our state system, 2 from the University of Florida, 2 from UCF, and 1 from Florida State University.
We have one of the best state university systems in the country.
No doubt.
And to your point, the universities are major contributors to the economy through all the research and innovations that eventually end up in the marketplace, purchased by consumers, and that people start and grow companies based on being able to offer those innovations, products, and services to the public.
We're going to take a short time out. We're visiting with Dr. Joe Saviak. We've been talking about public policy, the growth of the economy here in the state of Florida, specifically here in Flagler County. When we take a short break, we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about leadership. That is something he is a big proponent of and a big teacher of leadership. And we'll talk more about that after this short time out. This is the Chamber Business Report.
This is Paul Katz, and I've been Flagler County's personal injury attorney since 1987. I brought Jeff Green on board in 2000, and we've been serving the folks of Flagler County since then as Katz and Green. Life goes on, and I'm pretty much retired now. But all the ads you've heard us do in the last 10 years, that's been Jeff's work. All those people, they've said those nice things. They were saying them about Jeff, and he deserves it.
Personal approach, professional results. Cats in Green.
Back in the old days, thieves would break into your business through a door or window. Today, hackers break into your business and home in ways you never thought of. Your printer, security cameras, scanners, thermostats, remote workers, and their devices. We're Smart Technologies. We know how to identify and secure your entire network, not just your computers. If you would like a free cybersecurity assessment, give us a call today.
Smart Technologies.
Call us 252-2292.
In a world where personal service and people who really care about you can be lost, we want you to know we are different. We love engaging with our clients. That's just how we've been since 2008. Your milestones in life and business are our milestones, and we are with you every step of the way. We can do everything that big banks do, but we add the community banking touch. If you're already one of our clients, thank you. And if not, we would love to be your locally owned community bank. I'm Laura Gilveri. Welcome to Intracoastal Bank, member FDIC.
Welcome back to the Chamber Business Report. I'm John Phillips, president of the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber of Commerce, and our Chamber Business Report is brought to you by Cats in Green, by Intracoastal Bank, by Smart Technologies, and by Klein Construction. We're visiting with Dr. Joe Saviak. Dr. Saviak, let's talk a little bit more about the growth. We were talking about the big picture statewide. Let's talk about some of the great things and the growth going on right here locally in Flagler County.
Absolutely. Flagler County is very attractive. And I'm firmly convinced is going to, the stars have aligned and that the economy here is going to continue to be robust and strong and sustained in the long term. Here's what you've got going for you. You're one of the safest counties in America, right? Under Sheriff Staley, crime has gone down over 50%. So this is once again, yeah, you bet taxes and regulation and other economic issues matter. But really, when you look at it nationwide and internationally, the level of public safety is a big predictor of the success of the community. You have good schools. You have an enviable quality of life here, a wonderful quality of life. You have a favorable economic environment, tax, regulatory, your new industrial authority. In other words, your policymakers are very interested in ensuring that there are employment opportunities and a strong and growing economy. And let's talk about one of the best predictors of community and state success in America, and that is the level of engagement of your business leadership. And here's where Flagler County is doing great. You have a Chamber of Commerce that's very active in terms of engaging with the public and partnering with policymakers and providing information and resources and ideas and experience and expertise that helps the community understand why we need to make certain decisions to ensure that we maintain that high quality of life and that we preserve and protect a growing and strong economy. But you also are very good at working with the policymakers and making sure they have the benefit of the knowledge and experience of business leaders when they're thinking through all the different public policy decisions they have to make and how they may have impacts on the economy through those decisions.
Mm-hmm. No, you're exactly right. We're both on the same playbook there. The top two things for success, as you mentioned, having a great education system and having great, and those are the two biggest feathers in our cap that we like to fly from the Chamber flag. We are wonderfully located directly on the ocean. That's also a benefit. And then we're also easily accessible with I-95 from that standpoint. We also have the railroad. We also have US 1. And again, we're conveniently located between Jacksonville and Orlando, with Daytona Beach and St. Augustine being right around the corner as well. So a lot of things going our way here in Flagler County, without a doubt.
You have a number of natural assets and advantages, and it seems like the leadership here is determined to optimize those opportunities. And that's why I say the future is very bright for this county.
You used the term there, leadership, and the leadership is taking advantage of a lot of those benefits right there to grow this community. Let's talk a little bit about leadership. It's something that you teach. I do have some questions for you. How has the definition of a good leader evolved over the past maybe decade or so? Because as times evolve and times change, we as leaders have to evolve as well.
That's a superb question. Leaders have to, General Colin Powell once said, it's all about trust. And you have to build and sustain trust as a leader. You don't have to be the most charismatic individual, the most knowledgeable individual, the individual with the best resume, the longest tenure. You do have to be trusted, right? To your point about leadership is we see the importance of leaders who are emotionally intelligent and have a strong degree of empathy. They understand people. They feel what they're going through. And they're totally focused on solving the problems and meeting the needs of those who they lead. It's all about the mission. It's never about me. And they're really good, too, about creating and sustaining a positive and productive culture in an organization that is really conducive to achieving the mission goals and objectives.
You used you referenced the leader, General Colin Powell, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and one of the great leaders in my mind as well. Let me just unpack that one a little bit.
Sure.
And talk about General Powell and other leaders who you admire, look up to, and maybe even a couple of leadership books that someone might want to read. If you could encourage someone to pick up something off the shelf to improve their leadership and have a great growth mindset, what are some guides?
2 books. John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's a classic. We utilize it in our classes. I would say it's probably employed in every leadership program in every Fortune 500 company or state and federal agency in the country. I'd also highly recommend It's Your Ship by Michael Abrashoff. And it's all about when he was a leader of a Navy ship that it went from being worst in the fleet to best in the fleet. And how did he do that? They didn't give him a bigger budget. He didn't get the latest technology. He didn't get a new ship. He did it by changing the leadership. And by changing the leadership, he fundamentally changed the culture in the team. In fact, he was proud that they won even more awards after he had retired, because that means that the leadership and culture and team that he built, they continued to be successful into the future. Yeah,
it's one of the great signs of leadership is if it continues after, especially in the military where people change jobs and change posts and assignments quite frequently. Can it continue after someone has left? And I think usually it's because of another word that I know you like to talk about. It's about a culture that's become ingrained in the population, whether it's in the servicemen and women or in a company or in a school. Culture is incredibly critical.
Yeah, a CEO once said, if you get the culture right, everything else will follow. And it's really true. Culture is our values, our beliefs. It explains how people think, talk, and act and decide here and talk here even. It is key to have that specific set of values as an organization that define who we are, how we believe, how we treat our customers, how we do our jobs each day. And that culture, it's more powerful than any other tool you can employ in the organization. If you get that right, good things are going to happen for your company.
Yeah, mission, vision, and values can't be something that's just written on a piece of paper. It's got to be something that's lived and breathed every single day. Let me jump into our one more quick question. If you could give one piece of advice to a young person, a young professional just starting out their career, what would that be?
Take advantage of mentors. Mentors are going to help you. They don't make the decision for you, but they help you think about what you should be thinking about when you make a decision. And they have so much valuable experience and knowledge to share with you. They can help you avoid making some mistakes. They can help make sure that you take advantage of the right opportunities at the right time. They've already paid the tuition, and you're going to gain from that knowledge from them. They've already made their mistakes, and you can learn from them. And so I would strongly encourage everybody who's in college or they're in their profession now, seek out and take advantage of mentors. Find individuals whose careers and character you want to emulate, that you want to replicate in your own life.
I love it because I think they can hand down some of the traits, some of the cultures, some of the values. Sometimes they're referred to as soft skills, the intangible qualities that people need to learn. We got great book knowledge and we got great experience, but sometimes you got to get that hands-on soft skills that you can really only develop through mentors and through guidance. And oftentimes, maybe it's not exclusively one-on-one, but usually it's with a one-on-one or maybe a two-on-one opportunity where you get some deep dive into the personal skill set that some folks need to develop.
Very true. Leadership is a people business, and you have to build and sharpen your people skills. And spending time having good, candid conversations with mentors about real world issues and problems, that is a wonderful way for you to learn and grow and just benefit from their experience. They've already taken the classes, and you're going to gain the knowledge.
Absolutely. So I, again, appreciate your time today, Dr. Joe Saviak. If you want to learn more about him and how he can help you in your career, drjoesaviak.com, www.drjoesaviak.com. You can learn more about him. And again, thank you to the Chamber Business Report sponsors, Klein Construction, Katz & Green, Intracoastal Bank, and Smart Technologies. I'm John Phillips, president of the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber. Thanks for being with us today, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.